You're listening to A Tiny Homestead, the podcast comprised entirely of conversations with homesteaders, cottage food producers, and crafters. I'm your host, Mary Lewis.
Today I'm talking with Morgan at Coal Canyon Farms in Montana again. I think for like the fifth time, maybe. Good afternoon, Morgan. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, we've gotten to chat quite a bit since we met a few years ago over those little groovy goats. So I'm
It's
excited to be back on.
it's funny how podcasting can create friendships, real friendships.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Actually, really, honestly, the digital age. It's crazy how we can create friends that we don't even see in person, but they're a real friend. I mean, there's pros and cons to digital, but that is one of the things I love about it. Like the community I've made and met and the people like you I've gotten to meet have really shaped Coal Canyon Farm to what it is today, honestly.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. How is the weather in Montana today?
It's hot. We've been in the 70s. I'm not even kidding you. Like I had shorts on and this is like unbelievable for Montana to be this warm. So I think it's like 70 today with light breeze. So it's a good a good day to start spring cleaning and getting all of the, future projects we have done. How's your weather?
It is partly sunny. It is 68 degrees, feels like 68 degrees. I'm looking at my weather app right now. And there's hardly any wind today. So that's a nice change from Saturday. Saturday, the wind was blowing so hard it was making the house creak.
Oh man, yeah, I it does that to our house. We've had like so it's windy where I'm at, right? So I'm not ever shocked by wind, but in the last few years we are seeing more and more gusts. I remember when like 75-mile-per-hour gusts were huge a few years ago, and now this is the second time in the last 6 months we've had 90 plus mile per hour gust here.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I talk about the weather on every single episode, and I am literally out of things to say except that it's just weird.
It is, the app's never correct. Like we had rain last night, we could hear it because we live in a middle like a metal like tin house,
Yeah.
And I could hear it, and my husband, it was like, I don't we got into bed kind of late last night because I went to the auction, the horse auction, so I had a lot to fill him in on about. Did not come home with anything, side note, good thing
Mhm.
on that. But, we heard just this light pattering, and I was like, is that hail? Because, like, that would normally, like, snow, hail season is this season, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, no, no, actually, it's sprinkling outside. And the app never updated, never said we had precipitation, nothing. So I bought, I think it's a hydrometer or whatever, where you stick it outside. I need to figure out the real name for it, but I just call it the rain catcher. But it will tell me how much rain we're getting because I think, to be honest with you, they're not as accurately recording what's going on, and being a farmer, that's super important. So because the digital age has changed and we can't rely on these apps anymore as much as we did for weather, I'm having to learn the old ways, which is always good, right? Like if the electricity goes out, you need to know how to do this. But I've started charting rain myself, so it'll be interesting. I need to look at what we got last night, but I don't think it was enough to even register, honestly, Mary. But yeah, we've had strange weather here too.
Yeah, I'm at the point where if I want to get kind of an idea of what the weather's going to be in a few days, I will catch the morning news
Yeah.
because they seem to be more accurate than the weather apps. And if I want to know what the weather is right now, I literally step outside.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Like we live kind of on an outlook, right? So the storms whip around us because we're on the top. We're kind of
Yeah.
on like it's called a rim out here, but it's like a kind of a flat plain that's in the middle of some canyons, right? There's canyons in the middle of it where it popped up. Well, it'll if it goes around us left, if it goes around us left, then we'll sometimes get rain, but if it goes right, which is into Laurel, the city,
Yeah.
then we don't ever see it. So you can almost stand on the flat and it'll say that it's, hail storming, and it's not where we're at. We don't even have any hail or snow, nothing coming. But in the town, they're getting like beaten with golf ball size, literally golf ball size pieces of hail. So I'm like you. I just walk outside and I try to look, and see if there's any storms blowing in. But I don't know, I pack enough clothes, I guess, with me for any type of weather. I've got bibs, I've got jackets, I've got shorts, I've got t-shirts in the truck, right? Like,
Yeah.
just changes often, so you just go with the flow. But it is going to make farming interesting this year. So I think having, like you said, just some idea of where to look for reliable stuff is important.
It is, and it's so funny because I I listen to a lot of podcasts about podcasting, and everybody's like, "Don't talk about the weather, it's boring." But anytime I ask someone who is farming, homesteading, ranching,
Yeah.
it's not boring. It's really interesting to hear everybody's take on what they've got going on and what it's doing.
Yeah, it literally, I mean, your whole life as a farmer is based on the amount of rain that's going to come down if you don't have irrigated land. And we sadly have to haul every drop of water on and off this property, like
Yeah,
it's not an option for us. My leach field is green with 3 or 4 inches of grass already, which is crazy. The horses love it. So I think it's going to be great for the animals. They've had a rough swing this year. I know
mhm.
my animals really need some extra TLC after going from 70, not even kidding you, down to 1 degree
Uh-huh.
in less than 24 hours. That's really a big swing. So I think, you know, it's important to watch the weather because of that, but just knowing how to adapt to it. So that's something that I'm actually planning my whole life around is all these weather changes, like building more greenhouses this year.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to make more wind blocks. Like that's a whole thing. We've been looking up the Texas Ys. They're like in Texas, they're known for it. You get a lot of wind there, right? So it's like a Y shape, but they use it for cattle and horses. We've been trying to plan how many of those we're going to need because if not, my poor horses, it doesn't matter where they stand in a shelter, they're going to get, soaked
Yeah.
with how much wind we have and the unpredictability. I can't go put sheets on them, because I don't know when it's going to rain.
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's go back to when you and I first talked. When you and I first talked, you were Groovy Grazers,
Yeah.
Montana, and you were raising goats and
Yeah.
taking the goats to parties and things. And the last time we talked in January, end of January, you had gotten a couple of horses. So what I'm wondering about is how you got into horses, because that really wasn't on the radar for a while.
Yeah. So I'm a horse girl. I'm a covert horse girl. That's
Okay.
what my husband calls me, right? Cuz Andy made fun of horse girls growing up. It's actually funny. One of the girls that I'm going to buy hay from this year, she knew Andy growing up, and I was like, I turned him into a horse girl. So he's like almost completely also turned into a horse girl himself. Um, but I was writing when I was 9, actually. Wild fact about me. When I was little, um, Mike Baumgardner was my trainer out in Texas, and he was like an Olympic candidate. He actually taught the first girl ever who was legally blind and deaf back in like the 1980s or 90s. I'd have to look it up. I haven't in a while to do dressage. So I did weekly lessons and worked my hind end off for Mike Baumgardner so I could do extra lessons with him, and I fell in love with horses. My mom gets bit by horses. When she comes out here, she's going to get bit by every single horse I guarantee you I have on this property. Not because my mom does anything weird, it's just her energy. Like I think they know she's scared of her, right? So but yeah, I've been writing since I was 9, and then so Mike Baumgardner. Then I got into hippotherapy, hippotherapy with the horses. um it's working with kids and adults on the spectrum, nonverbal, some kids didn't move, and we were using horses to be a form of therapy, and I did that. She's almost like kind of like my mom, Tara, actually, uh out in Texas, and I was going to become an instructor for that, and then we moved to Arizona. So right, like my whole childhood I was just emerged into riding and being around horses. They were kind of my calm spot. And then Arizona, I got really really sick January 11th. I can tell you the day of 2020. I
Okay.
was riding before that. I was riding some Western Pleasures out there with Heather Meyer. So people are horse people, they'll know her. She won some world competitions in Western Pleasure, and I was riding some really high end horses and just learning, the ropes of that after being in the military. So the military was my big like kind of Hades on riding, because in Japan they don't have anything but ponies out there and on the island. So, I came back after my divorce, went to Arizona, rode for Heather Meyer for a little bit, um, learned a lot from her, and then I got sick and stopped riding literally for 6 years. Just Mary woke up one day and couldn't do the thing that kept me sane.
Oh,
Yeah, it was rough. So that's why I didn't even talk about it. That's why it wasn't even on the radar. So that's why I'm giving you that backstory. Like,
yeah,
I
that's fine.
I never thought I was going to write again. I had a hysterectomy at a young age, and I'm very open about that, because it's a lot of things. A lot of women are having to deal with that, and honestly, it has to do with the chemicals that we're exposed to. So like that's a whole nother tinfoil hat thing we could go down to. But right, so I had a hysterectomy, and didn't ride, and then I got cleared a year ago. So actually, it's coming up. I didn't really talk about the one horse I had because he wasn't on the property a bunch and he wasn't really involved in the business. But I've had horses my own for about a year now, but I've changed out obviously quite a bit. What I've had as we're trying to figure out the direction of them. But horses are my hobby. So they will never pay for themselves.
Uh-huh.
They will, I mean, they can later on. I'm going to
Yeah.
breed. I've got a thoroughbred off the track. I'm going to breed in my friend's Shire that's registered. And I'll get a registered baby. And that'll move us down the path on like eventually maybe they'll kind of cover themselves, but they are truly a hobby. So I always tell people like you got to decide on your items if it's a hobby or if it's a farm, right? And horses are a hobby for right now. We do want to get into driving and stuff, but yeah, so that's kind of my background. I'm a covert horse girl, not your typical horse girl, and I'm turning Andy into a horse girl himself. He's doing so good with training the babies and gentling him up, and he's seeing the quietness that you have in your brain. Have you ever been around a horse, Mary? Have you
I
ever ridden?
have. Yes, I have.
Okay, so are you a horse girl? I gotta know now.
I am not a horse girl. I would have loved to have been a horse girl, but no one I knew when I was growing up had horses.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was a city girl, right? So it's funny. A lot of people don't know that about me. Well, I mean, like people that listen to this do, but like a lot of people just assume, you know, that I came from the country and everyone had them. But no, we drove like I want to say it was like 30 or 45 minutes one way to Mike Baumgartner's place,
Mm.
and I did that once or twice a week, and that was the only way I could ride. And then I mean, Texas, everyone rides out there or has a horse at a stable. So because I was a horse girl already riding, I just kind of found the rest of the horse girls. So that was really kind of my thing. But yeah, so my program right now is my son's paint, um, Liberty. She was born on 4th of July, which was really cool. But he wanted her really bad, so I was bidding at the auction house, which is now my new favorite trip to do once a month. It's the cheapest thing I can. Well, if I don't bring anything home, Mary, it's the cheapest. But um, I go, I take coffee, I buy a drink and a little snack, and I go and I'll sit there all day and just watch. I mean, it's interesting to understand the horse market, especially if I want to make this not a hobby.
Yeah.
I need to understand that. But yeah, I'm going to be offering weanling startings. I'm going to work with my friend Hannah Jones to start understanding how to do the missing link. I've never had a baby this young or ever really,
Uh-huh.
right? Baby horses. I've never gotten to experience this. So this is all first. And I've done basic groundwork on horses that have been trained, but never like started. So Hannah's going to kind of help me start them. But I do plan on being able to help friends consign their horses and ride them and stuff. Cause not everyone wants to go ride in the auction house. Me personally, it doesn't bother me, right? So that's kind of like how that'll play in a Cold Canyon farm, and eventually we do plan on having some like horse driven. My husband's obsessed with it. Horse driven like hay balers, swathers, things like that. He's gone down a whole thing because how diesel's like $5 here almost. I think
Yeah.
yours it is. So he's going down this whole path because we believe everything here at Cold Canyon Farm has to work for itself. So I still do goat parties, by the way. It's called agri-tourism, by the
Yep.
way. I didn't know that. So like I'm so behind on the time. So I caught up to that wording. I was like, all right, cool. But we're only dedicating Friday, like Fridays and Saturdays. I have an employee that I've hired. Um not an employee, like kind of like a subcontractor. She'll come and help me. And then if she wants to host her own parties, she can use the name and stuff. I got to look into it, right? Like I'm still in the works of like getting insurance fully done because of our expansion, making sure my employee is under there, or if she has to be a 1099 contractor, making sure I do the right thing for her.
Yeah.
And then we have the sheep. So we've expanded. So we're still doing groovy grazers. That helps the goats pay for themselves. I'm still milking them. I'm about to start milking today actually because I've had some babies. Um, and they're past their, 2-week stage where I don't really want to milk them. So I've got some does I'm going to milk finally, and I'll sell my milk for that. I'll have to get tested. Like everyone needs to know that if you buy goat milk, you need to ask them. It's not a requirement in every state, and it's not really even a requirement in Montana. But a good breeder should have biosecurity screening down to CL. And if you don't know what CL is, you can totally look at my page. I'm going to put together some courses for that, like basics of buying. That'll just be free information for people. But CL can be zoonotic, and then like making sure if tuberculosis, Q fever, mastitis, right? So I'll send off my pathogens, my stuff for pathogen testing. It'll come back. I'll start selling. I do sell at 30 a gallon. I encourage all of your listeners to do the cost. If you are selling at $10, $15 a gallon, you are not breaking even. It
Yep.
may feel like it, but in the long run, you are not.
Yep.
People,
I believe it.
people undervalue it. That's a hobby. If you want to be a hobbyist, do that. I'm not a hobby. I am a cottage farm that is selling the extras, and if I'm going to sell them and my family's not going to consume it, then it needs to be worth my time, right? Because
Yep.
cottage farms, you're allowed to sell your excess. So the goats are still milking. We had sheep. I had every ewe drop a baby my first year of breeding. I am so proud of myself because sheep is a learning curve. And
How many babies?
okay, so tragic story, but Betty, the one I talked about, because she's like kind of the most important horse here, because of her like role in our whole program eventually. But she's gonna make painted pretty mules eventually. So, which is our gold mules. So Betty hits the sheep 2 weeks before she's due. They're like playing in the field and we're throwing hay, right? So like I'm setting the stage so you'll understand. So she runs her over, the sheep. And we like checked out the sheep. She seemed fine. Betty was fine, but like Betty stepped on it and like with the wool kind of like rolled it. And it's because they were staring at me with the hay, but super excited, right?
Yeah.
So that one did have a dead on arrival ram. And it was really kind of sad because it had crushed parts of the baby when she stepped on it. I'm glad my ewe is okay. And I didn't even like, there's nothing you can do at that point, right? So, sad part of farming, that's the reality of it. One of them was born dead. I do know why, which is important when you farm too. So, one ram, then we had two healthy rams born, and then two ewes. So, I've had 5 babies, 4 alive, 1 dead. So, that's a really good ratio because these are first time moms. So, I think we talked about it 2 episodes ago where we were talking about the changes and why we're moving to sheep. So, these sheep were bred at 9 months old. They have now dropped after a year. So it's 5 months, right? So they're about a year and a half. They have now had their babies.
Yeah.
So now these babies will grow up and then they will then be bred this year. All of them will be rebred. So now next year I'm moving in with 7 ewes into breeding season, the end of the season, right? So next year I'll drop 7 different ewes. I will butcher one of the lambs, one of the rams. I have to pick the two because my current ram is a shy eater. I did not know this was a thing about sheep, that some sheep are shy and they don't want to eat in front of other animals. So he like literally was withering away. Because I never saw him eat. I just didn't ever think anything of it because I would catch him kind of by the pile. But because we've been outside a lot more, he wasn't eating.
Mm.
So I had to move him in with like a really tiny little buck that I have. He weighs like seriously no more than 30 pounds. So I've got my ram in there with this little Nigerian dwarf buck and their best buds, and that goat taught him to eat. But because he has this like undesirable trait, shy eating, we will process him also. So I'll process 2 lambs this year, which we will probably put honestly both of them into our freezer because of the fact that food right? Food scarcity, diesel going up, just kind of the writing on the walls. I'd rather have some meat in there and it
And
not be excess. So,
and lamb is really yummy.
oh my goodness, I breed Cheviot and I encourage people to look at them. They're such an underrated sheep because they only get up to like 120 pounds as a ewe, maybe 160 as a ram.
Yeah.
But they're from England and they are meant to graze. They're specifically made to grass finish. And I don't want anything that needs to be corned or fed really heavily because I that's more input. It's not even because of like how unhealthy it is that you eat all the soy and stuff through the animals, but literally because it's more input, right? So that's why I picked these Cheviots. So they're a really interesting breed, even though they're smaller. I am getting them sheared this Thursday, so I'll get to learn about the wool. We'll eventually process that, right? So the sheep really are just kind of coming along as the backbone because Groovy Grazers doesn't pay for itself, and that's where I had to decide, are we going to continue down the road, which you and I had kind of talked about on the a few episodes ago about changes and when we came out with Cold Canyon Farm. Groovy
Yes,
Grazers is great.
pivot was a big word in that one. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We pivoted, right? So Groovy Grazers is great, but to make it sustainable, it's only got a 6-month season. It's not really worth it because it's a lot of work and time off the farm for myself. Each visit, if it's an hour long, it's a minimum of 3 hours off the farm.
Mhm.
If it's a 2 hour visit, now you're talking 4 hours off the farm, right? So it was becoming like a job where nothing was getting done at home, but now we have a lot going on. So another pivot that my son wanted to do was we got pigs. So not only are we now doing sheep, we've got the Nigerian dwarf for milk and parties. We have pigs. My son bottle fed a pig, which was really a good thing for him. And he decided he wanted to get into them. So we're making a pig pen because I didn't know this, but pigs are like called mortgage lifters. Have
Yes.
you ever heard that?
Yes.
I have never heard that, Mary.
Yeah. They can be the backbone of a homestead or a farm too, just like the sheep can.
Yeah. So like we got those guys. Now get it. My friend gifted us those New Zealand rabbits. I think we might have maybe talked about them, but they've had their first litter, and one, people want to buy them because you can breed them in the backyard. I'm going to do a whole course on how to feed your family, supplementing with like the rabbits. You can't eat just rabbits. There's a whole syndrome because they have no fat on them.
Right.
But there's a way that people can produce beyond chicken at their home and use that as fertilizer. So that's something we're kind of getting into. I had done rabbits before, but I can't eat chicken. And the year just we're kind of in coming to the end of Q1 after April. And so well, we were Q1, whatever. I'm just like kind of lost on the Qs. I've got to look back through them. But I know that Q1 I think ends in April or something. And I sat down proactively and I was trying to get together what we spent the most money on. And it was obviously beef, right? Even though I'm buying locally from somebody, which I recommend someone trying to find that or buy a half a beef or something. I buy it by the month, butcher boxes for my friend here locally. And so beef was such a big number. Well, I did the math on rabbits, right? So I did how much feed, how much space, how much to build the cages. And I was like, well, with how much I'm buying beef, I can cut that out by a half because I used to have chicken in there. And then it got replaced by beef and raised these New Zealand rabbits. And people are buying them for trios for 100 plus here, non-paper, just meat rabbits.
Yeah.
That's income. That's good income, actually, like really good compared to the output of a rabbit. So we're also doing that. So I'm really focusing on items that are going to produce for the farm that are smaller scale. Like I don't have grass puppy money. That's what I call cows. They're grass puppies.
I do too. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money. I'm sorry. For a bottle calf out here, Mary, they're going for over 1,000, 1,500.
Yeah. And a year or two ago, they were going for what, 400 or 500?
They would take them out back at the auction house, the bum calves, if they couldn't get rid of them. Like if we
Yeah.
want to be really like very stark and serious on this podcast, that's the reality of it. They were begging people to take them.
Hmm.
Now they're little cash cows, literally cash cows, like, so I don't have that kind of money, but that's okay. Neither do I have that kind of water because I have to haul it, nor do I have that kind of like workhorse with the horses. You've got to have horses if you're moving cattle or doing anything with them and any source of like making money off of them. It's just the reality of it, or four-wheelers.
Yeah.
So Montana can't really use four-wheelers. We're pretty rugged out here. So that's what we've been up to, right? Like I just launched my website. That's another big thing that happened. We're going to start doing courses. I have to change the date because I just realized I'm going to be the key speaker, a keynote speaker. So one of the ones that are listed at Earth Day. And it's like not in a big auditorium, it's just outside, but I'm going to get to make posters and talk about it. So, and have like a set time. So because I got invited to do that, I'm going to be moving the mini garden course that I'm doing. It's called Garden versus Grocery Bill because let's be honest, that's how we all feel when we're gardening.
Right now, yes, we do.
Yeah, so I'm gonna move it. It was gonna be March 18th, but I'll probably move it, um, like one weekend back or move it to a different day. I was gonna do it on Saturday, but that's coming up. You can sign up for free. It's just a free course I'm putting on, um, online, and I'll have like a printout. I made my very own printouts lately, like how I plan my garden, like deconstructing my own ways. So like since we last spoke in January, I don't think I've actually pulled my head up to breathe at all.
I was gonna say you've taken on a lot in just the last 2 months.
Yeah, but I've worked less. Like, I mean, I haven't like taken a breath as in like leaving for get vacation or like taking, a lot of time off of social media or like posting or reaching out to people.
Yeah.
But I've taken days off. Like I take Saturday and Sunday off every week now. Like I'm a farmer. I can pick my time. Monday through Friday is great, right? We're still doing things on Saturday and Sunday, but like it's family time and
Yeah.
Sunday is a rest day. So I wasn't doing that before. You and I talked about Melanie being my coach. She's still my coach, which is awesome. And has been helping a lot. But her biggest thing was like rest when you need to rest and work when you're inspired. And lately, like, I've been doing that. So I just feel really inspired lately to get all these things done. And like some of it, it's more aimed at the farm. So having somebody that can help me means that I don't always have to leave. But then, like, bartering, right? I can barter with my employee for time on the farm too.
Mhm.
Like, hey, can I have you help me here? And then you can take these goats for this party and I don't need a fee at all. Like, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know. I'd have to check right with a tax person, but that's kind of our plan is to be spending more time on the farm and then we see the food scarcity. So I think I just feel really inspired lately because of that right there. Like that's a main driver for me, especially being a veteran. Like Americans not eating and going hungry is like I could stand on a soapbox for hours on that one. Like it's really disappointing to me that we have that catastrophe in America. So if I can feed people and make some money off it, make some scratch, to feed my animals and feed my family, then I'm absolutely going to do it. So that's why I think we've just expanded into just meat animals. There's a market for it.
There sure is. And Morgan, this is my podcast, and I get to say this because I am the one who will get in trouble for it, not you.
Yeah.
People going hungry in this country is absolute bullshit.
It is.
I
It's
am
upsetting.
I am livid about what is happening in our country right now. And I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to
Yeah,
blame anybody in particular, but we all need to stop and look at our lives and figure out what the heck we're doing.
absolutely. There's no left and right here. This is Americans helping Americans, guys. Like, I have the chills saying that, but like, my mom's not from this country. My mom's from Iraq, right? Like, I grew up with a very realistic like view that there were kids in this world not eating. If there's one single person going to sleep at night in America that is starving because they've been denied help, not the ones that don't want help, but denied help, makes me as a veteran question, what did I serve for?
Yeah.
And I will stand on that soapbox. And some people don't like it. They tell me that I shouldn't have that view, that I should know better as a veteran. Well, yeah, I do know better, and that's why I'm upset.
Yep. I think there's an awful lot of upset in the world right now.
Mhm.
Not just in America, but in the
No,
world.
all
And
over.
it's so hard. And I had a day last week. I didn't do a whole lot of interviews last week. I just didn't. And I had a day where I was like, do I want to keep doing this? Because I feel like I'm just screaming into the void.
Yeah, but you're not.
Yep.
They're
And then
hearing you.
And then I decided that, yes, I still want to keep doing this. And I just want to keep pounding on the fact that we all have the right to grow our own food. We all have the
Yes.
right to get to know our local growers and producers and
Mhm.
support them. And
Mhm.
and my husband and I, as long as the garden does well this summer, we'll be donating food to the food shelf. So yes, we are going to
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, and you can get tax write-offs, by the way, for donating by pounds.
Mhm,
And like if you want to go become a master gardener, like that's one way that you can donate your time. I recommend master gardening course. I went through my local extension office and I did it. I didn't take the test because I know that we want to consult
mhm,
people across America, and having that title kind of, I couldn't use it as like a talking point, right? And then
right.
it also makes things more conflicting,
Mhm,
and I would have to donate hours. So for me, it just didn't make sense to get the Master Gardener title. But I think for folks that are just looking for a way to help their community, like you can donate food and keep the Master Gardening title, and then you're a part of a really cool group or organization without having to search far or trying to find something to do that you can do in a group. You can garden alone. But having access to the books that they hand out, like my book is specifically for Montana down to when to plant and when to start harvesting.
nice. That is
Just for the beans.
fabulous. That
Yeah,
that helps.
yeah. So like I think for me and my focus on my farm that like I wanted to talk about was just expansion and how we're securing our animals, how we're securing our food. Like I'm worried about food. I will not have my family go hungry by choice, if that makes sense, right? Like if there's catastrophes, that happen, then it is what it is. But like having to report every year how many head of sheep I have and horses and then get charged for them locally, like for my property taxes, is unacceptable.
Uh-huh.
Um, Having to notify people when I put in a well, okay, like I can understand some of it, but like having to have your water tested or them like I've heard of people getting in trouble for not testing their water, enough times or whatever, and it's expensive. Like we shouldn't, it's not, why is it a pay to play in America? Like it's a pay to live in America. Like it's the boys describe it, my husband and son describe it as like a video game that's free to play, but all the upgrades you have to pay for. So like if you want to harvest your water in some states, you can't. You got
Yeah.
to do it illegally. That's not okay.
Yeah.
you know? Like, and then all these data centers. Montana has 11 coming. I am pissed about that.
Yeah. I have all kinds of opposing opinions about AI
Yeah,
because some of what AI does is really good.
it
Some of it
is.
is really terrible.
Yeah, like I personally don't there are some of it. It's built into everything. I'm so tired of everything I use by force having AI somewhere in the background and it not being announced. But then there are some great things that you can use AI for. Like my website builder, I
Yeah.
typed in what type of website I needed help with, and it just is going to pull, and it did, pulled from basics that were like that. Now I went in and had to adjust every single thing in there to be custom, but that AI usage, okay, whatever. Like, I don't have money for a web designer. If I had money for a web designer, I'd go pay somebody, but I just don't, right? As a
Yeah.
small business that's trying to help people. So that's where, like, I have leniency. But when there's big companies using AI posters, get out of here. They can
Mhm.
afford an artist,
Yes, exactly.
you know?
Um, so I don't wanna make this an hour-long episode. We're already at 33 minutes.
Yeah, you're good.
But what I wanted to tell you is I am really freaking proud of you for
Thank you.
all the things that you're working on just in the last 2 months. I mean, I knew you were a go-getter because your catchphrase is "Do the damn thing." But
Yeah.
but darling, my god, you are kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, I just want to leave a mark on this world. I'm going to leave this world with only my name. Nothing, none of my worldly possessions, just my name. So
Yeah,
I want everyone to know that, like, when they hear, right, like my name, they're like, oh, Morgan Cole. Yeah, she did this. Oh, yeah, I learned this from her. And it did this for my family, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm not here. I could care less about money. I'll be honest. Like, I know I need it. I know I do. But, like, at the end of the day, I want to do the thing that I wanted to do in the military, which was make Americans' lives better. And not even just Americans, anyone's life better, right? Like, I just wanted there to be a world that could coexist. And if me being on this platform, doing what I'm doing right now, is what I'm supposed to do, I am so here for it. Like, I will always do the damn thing. And that has been my thing. And so I'm seeing such a huge gap online with needing information that's correct, not AI generated
Yeah.
and full of crap that doesn't mean anything, actual real world experience. Because we used to all sit around and do it, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm proud of you too, because I know there are days where I want to give up farming, but then I remember it, and like, your podcast does matter. Like, I mean, it does help people. Like, I like the new podcast. I love everything that you're doing, but I think it's so hard for everybody, like, goes through this where they lose sight of what they're doing because they don't feel that they're making a big enough wave just because they don't see it. Like, I guarantee you, like you found out today, you're a huge reason why I've shifted the way I have. I've listened to podcasts that you've personally hosted and been like, "Oh yeah, actually if I did things this way, or listen, they're doing it this way and they're getting really good success, let me try that." Right? Like, having that community that you built has been priceless. And like, I have met some of the followers on here. Some of them have messaged me, right? So connecting people, I think, is your skill. And I think you're really, really damn good at it. And I think you're really good at getting your word out there, even if the people are silently listening to you. I think you don't realize, Mary, how many people depend on listening to your episode. Like, when you post them, they used to barely get 120 views after a week. You have 100 plus views on some of these episodes the first day you post them.
Uh-huh. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen it grow. So I'm proud of you too. But like, also know that I'm sure there's more people that you've touched their lives or changed their lives in a way that you have no idea. And like, me personally, I think it would be really cool if people under this episode could post like, what have you learned off of Mary's episodes? What have you learned from another homesteader? Because I want to learn. I want to learn what they may have picked up on that I missed. So, like, I think that continuing to do what you're doing, even if you keep interviewing some of us over and over again, there's so much. And I don't mean over and over again, like, but through time, right? To
Yeah.
see the changes, the literal changes that we make as farmers is also very important. So, like, I never mind clearing an hour of my day to come on here and answer questions that you have or tell you about what we're doing, because I think this is like the reality of how we're all going to learn if we want to learn real information.
Yeah, thank you for saying all of that. And I actually love sitting down to chat with you every 6 months. This is very short turnaround on this one, but
Yeah.
I love talking with you because I I know when we did the first episode where you were at.
Yeah.
And I've had 4 times now to see where you're going to through what you're
Yeah.
doing now. And I feel like it's a series. It's not just 1 episode, it's
Mhm.
5 episodes. It's a series.
Yeah, maybe you should like group it out in that. Maybe the people you interview a bunch, because then people can like tune into this episode, but then they may not realize I was Groovy Grazers before if they listen to Groovy Grazers that we turned into Cold Canyon. Like,
Yeah.
that may be even something for you to like expand on, you know? Because you're
Yeah.
good at that. You're good at showing the changes and showing the like evolving of us as cottage farmers and homesteaders, because there is so much involving, pivoting, changing. These are all keywords we've talked about.
Yes, and I think that's why people are drawn to farming and homesteading and ranching
Mm-hmm.
because it's never boring. I mean, it
Never.
it may hurt like hell when things
Yes.
go wrong. It may make you higher than a kite when things go right, but it's never boring.
No, no, no. There's like literally nothing ever boring in my life. Like, if someone asks me what I'm doing, I probably have some crazy story, or they're catching me at a horse auction. I'm like, yeah, I can't text right now. I'm watching horses go through at, a minute, 30 seconds a piece here at BLS auction, right? Like, never do I have a boring day in my life. There are some days where I'm cussing at the sky, really pissed at my life because of some things that have popped up, but then there are days like today where I'm like, I walk around, things are a lot cleaner, we're getting things finished, we're buttoning up some projects, and I'm like, damn, 3 years ago, there wasn't crap out here. There was literally a tin, like, building that my husband lived in with a studio and a little horseshoe dirt mound, and, like, now I have 4 horses and a pony, and I'm breeding a mare this year, and I've got pack goats, and I've got, a pig, for goodness sake. I've got baby sheep. They're so cute. Oh my god, they're so cute. You're gonna have to include that on the preview. I'll send you specifically the picture. It's
Please.
smiling. Sheep are so cute, right? But, like, had I given up when I wanted to, I would never get to experience this life. I wouldn't get to experience my kid riding around on a horse. I wouldn't get to experience all these things that I wanted in my childhood, but now I'm able to give them. And my parents they didn't want to live the country life. Fine. But I wanted to live this life, so I'm going to do the damn thing. So, like, everyone listening, you can farm, and I call it farming, right? Because you're producing stuff. You can actually profit off of an acre or less. And that's something else I'm going to be going into on a whole freaking course, because too many people think because they're in town on a quarter acre or less, they can't produce their own food. But there are ways. And I think that these types of podcasts are going to be the way that Americans will continue to feed themselves. And I think you got to remember that. Like, you're helping people actually feed themselves.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I'm so thankful for all the people that have talked with me to share how they're doing it. Real quick,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about when you first moved there. There was nothing because you knew about how we put up the hard-sided greenhouse.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we're planting seed. We have planted seeds in there this year. We have no seedling trays on our kitchen table this year. Everything is being planted in
No
the greenhouse.
way.
Yep.
I remember that being, like, a huge stress for you too. You're like, "There's everything everywhere
Yep.
in my house." And, like, I remember when you got to eat some strawberries out of the greenhouse, like,
Last spring. Yep.
yeah, you were so excited about that. We're gonna be building some tunnel greenhouses where, winter, you'll winter it normally. We get a lot of snowfall. So, like, well, and you've been getting snow too. So everywhere's been getting snow, but like, that's something I'm going to be working on. So I can't wait, because I was telling my husband, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to tell Mary when I eat my first strawberries out of my greenhouse," because my
Uh-huh.
husband builds them. That's something he, like, professionally has done, um for dispensaries and stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think we should definitely check back in at least 6 months,
This fall.
and
Yeah.
yeah, this fall, see where we're at. I'm, like, fully booked for May already with goat parties.
Good.
Um, yeah, so in April's filling up. So I think, like, it'll be really cool to see what changes are next. You never know. Maybe I'll find a unicorn.
If you do, I want pictures.
Oh, I will totally send you pictures. Maybe if it has wings, it's a Pegasus. Maybe I'll fly and come see you. That'll be my new transport with gas these days.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I appreciate you so much. And if any of the listeners feel, like, compelled to reach out to me, or if you have questions, like, please do. Like, that's my favorite thing to do, is answer questions or help people get started on their journey, or try and find hangups, that they're having, because I think that human connection is so precious, and we all take it for granted. So, like, please reach out, ask questions. Like, I encourage you to connect with us.
Yep, absolutely. Your website is colecanyonfarms dot.
Yep, .com. It has an S on it. So farms with an S, because
Yep.
we will eventually be buying more. So it's farms.
Okay.
And then
And
Facebook
yep.
is Cole Canyon. And then Instagram is Cole Canyon Farms.
Okay. Awesome. As always, you can find me at a tinyhomesteadpodcast.com. Morgan, I love you. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you.
I love you too. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you in, well, we'll say 6 months, but let's see where we're at next time we meet up, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Bye.